Do you ever feel like you're speaking a language from other people around you? Hey, Jay Williams here, and welcome to another Pocket Coaching. One of my favorite topics of conversation is communication. One of my big sayings is every single one of your problems can be solved with a conversation, either with yourself or with someone else. Now, the challenge with communication is that it's easy to think that everyone is like you when you're in your head. But the problem when it comes to communication is if all you have is a hammer, everything seems to look like a nail. And this is where, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. Me and my wife used to get into big arguments over DIY. It's a true test of any marriage. Can you get through DIY and not murder each other? Now, for context, she's an engineer. Detail-orientated, methodical, needs specifics before moving forward. Whereas me, I have loads of ideas. I get excited. I get vision. I'm a guy that also likes to get to the point. I like to get going. Stop wasting time. I'm impatient. I like to get into the doing. And what used to happen is she would always ask me about instructions. The plan, the process, boring. And she'd be taking forever mulling over this thing because she needed to process through it in her head. And inside my stomach, I'd have like twisting knots because I just wanted to get it done. Like it wasn't something I enjoyed. And in my head, I was just thinking, stop fucking around thinking about it, planning, and let's get on with it. And what would normally happen, we've got a lot better now and we make a great team now because we understand what I'm about to share with you. In my frustration, I would start the doing. And I would put the wrong thing in the wrong place, or there'd be bits left over at the end. Something would go wrong, and then she'd get really angry at me and just say, why can't you just wait? And after many failed projects, lots of arguments, and then the complete avoidance of DIY altogether, we learned about something called disc profiling, and everything changed for us both on the DIY front, but also in how I communicated with people, both, whether that be in sales calls, whether it be with my clients, whether it be with my partner, my family, people in the street. The thing that I realized about human communication is that we all have different communication styles based on how we process information, or as some people might say, based on your personality. And what I see is that most conflicts happen because of a misunderstanding. And by misunderstanding, I mean style mismatches. See, when you communicate in someone else's preferred style, they're going to feel heard. They're going to feel understood. They're going to feel special. But when you try and tell them using your style and you force your style on them, they're going to feel misunderstood, or they're going to feel frustrated because they're not getting what they need. And the key here isn't to change who you are. It's to flex into how you communicate, so you communicate in their style. And I think this is just especially important if you're in business, if you're a leader of a business. Your job is to connect, not to be right. You need to connect with your audience through your marketing. You need to connect with your prospects if you run something like sales calls. You need to be able to connect if you've got a team. You need to connect if you're going to lead and influence. And the way we do that is by, first of all, understanding the 4 different styles, how to identify them, and then how to adapt our communication to each of those different styles. Now, when I'm about to share these with you, these are originally from something called DISC. It's very familiar to something called insights, which is often used within teams. They are based on different theoretical models. I'm not going to use the exact names that they use because I use something specific to personas, but it's essentially the same thing, but it just makes it easier to get it in your head and understand. So the first type, and there's 4 in total, is what we call a controller. And just notice as we go through this, which one you feel like you might be. We are all of these, but we normally have a dominant 1 and 2. And notice other people in your life. I guarantee you'll see other people in your life very quickly, and this will open up your eyes. Now, a controller is someone who's a red. They're very results focused. These type of people are often very direct. They're often confident. They can be egotistical. They're the type of people that get results. They're the type of people, what they want is the bottom line, quick decisions, the what, the when. They want to be efficient. You need to give them bullet points, clear outcomes, options to choose from. When you get to the point with this type of person, they're the best people on sales calls because they normally say, okay, yeah, never mind all that. Just give me the price. And then they'll make a decision then and then. There's none of this like, oh, I need to think about it. I need to process through it, right? They just get to the point. They either want it or they don't. Things to avoid: long explanations, too much detail, emotional appeal, what to say to them. Here's what we need to achieve and by when, right? They care about achievement. Now, I can normally tell this type of person based on their role, their job. You can tell by their car, by sometimes what they wear. Not 100% accurate, but it gives you a good idea. So a controller would drive some car that would normally bulldoze you off the road, right? It's a sign, I'm here. It's about status. They might drive something like a Jeep or a Range Rover. They might drive something like an Audi. That's another example. And any car that basically pushes you off the road. They're normally CEOs, founders of company. They're self-starters. They are normally type A personalities. You see a lot of them. So that is the controller. They normally wear brands, anything that resembles status. So if you're meeting with this person, you need to be confident, but you also need to dress the part as well. Again, not 100%. This is a guide, but for the most part, this is largely true. The challenges red face is they often have challenges around work-life. I'm going to call it integration. Sometimes they call it balance. They have problems sometimes around fulfillment. They're head down, going and going and going and going, and then they lift their head and realize, oh, this is not what I want to do when I grow up. They can often burn out, resulting in losing motivation, high levels of stress, anxiety, might experience depression. They often have issues in their relationships because they don't tend to do that emotional side. They get a lot of their certainty from their work and their self-worth from their work. So they might have problems in their relationship as well. And obviously working a lot doesn't help that either. Next up, we have the promoter, which is the yellow. These people are inspiring, influential. They're normally in marketing positions. Events people, you'll want one of these on your events team. They want enthusiasm, collaboration, recognition, especially publicly. Give them energy, stories, involvement in the process. Avoid being too serious. These are fun. These are the life and soul of the party. Normally quite extroverted. See if you can spot what I might have a little bit of in me. Ignoring their ideas, rushing them, say to them, this is exciting because, get their input on it. They want that collaborative approach. It's important in a promoter to have that because they value people. They value community. They're very heart-centered. Now, the biggest challenge of the promoter is they have ideas coming out their ears. They are great starters, but not always good at following through. They are sometimes a little bit insecure. So you've got to be careful with cutting them down. And this is where controller and promoter can often have some challenge because the controller might be direct, but the promoter might take it quite personally. What they might drive: a red Lamborghini, a purple Tesla, anything that's cool, anything that's different, anything that's a bit more look at me, but for the different reasons to the controller, right? It's an identity piece. S, which is what stands for supporter, which is green. So this type of person is loyal, they're kind, they're great listeners, they care about people, they're fantastic in customer service roles. They want to be heard, listen, they want you to care about them. This type of person, you need to give your time. It's that time for the small talk. This type of person, things to avoid just getting straight to it, right? This is not that person, right? This is the type of person that you need to give a bit more time to. Show that you care. That's the big word. These type of people, their biggest challenges, they often have challenges around self-worth. They can be people pleasers. They're great in customer service roles because they'll do way more for other people than they will for themselves. The type of car they might drive, something underwhelming. Citroen Zara Picasso. Something that doesn't draw any attention to them. Then we have the last one, which is the analyzer, or the blue. This type of person you see in software development, developer roles, anything technical, IT, You see them in engineering, like my wife. These type of people, they want data, accuracy, time to analyze, give them facts, research, logic, reason, not too much emotion. Avoid emotional appeals, rushing decisions, vague information. This type of person, you better keep your word to them, otherwise they'll resent you forever. Say to them, the data shows, and give them time to review. Use sources, quote sources when you're speaking to this type of person. You see this type of person in operations as well a lot, combined with the controller personality. So they're normally like a controlling analyzer, which make them normally great for operations. Types of car they might drive, a Volvo, because they know all the data on how safe it is. They might even drive how they decide to buy a car, like a Tesla. They know all the stats about it, like they do their research. The challenges that these people face is they often do get loads of data, loads of research, but struggle to actually make decisions. So that's one of their biggest challenges. So they often get overwhelmed. So those are the four types. The important thing to remember here is you're all of them. And you need to first of all recognize which one you might be. And then by understanding or having awareness of the others, you can start to flex into them. And it's important that you don't just put people in boxes. This is a guide. It's really about meeting people where they are. And it's just my firm belief that if you're going to be someone who's a great leader of your business, great leader of your team, great leader of your family, of your life, you need to be able to be someone who speaks everyone's language, not just your own. And you already have the ability to connect with anyone. This hopefully just gives you a little bit of a roadmap to follow. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you want to get notified about new releases, you can go to jwilliamscoaching.com/pocket, enter your name and email address, and get notified about any new releases and updates. And if this is the second or the 22nd time of listening to my pocket coaching, I want to say a big, big thank you for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.